I was ready for it this time.
There we
Guess
go.
who we have tonight? We have Lacey and Mike and their 3 adorable children. We got the chance to meet all 5 of them last year at Off-Grid Doug and Stacy's Life Conference in Missouri at the beginning of August. And if you're going this year, you'll be able to meet them. I can't wait. I need to get my hugs from the kids. I just fell in love with their daughter, and I told her so. She's adopted. Well, I'm Nana, period. I'm Nana to most everybody. So tonight we get Mike Dickson, the fit farmer, Lacey, who's already fit, and their 3 wonderful children, which I'm sure they'll get on camera because 2 of them just love to be in front of it. So get your questions ready, put them in all caps. If we don't catch them, our moderators will, and they'll hit me over the head and remind me to ask the questions. Welcome to all those that haven't been here yet. For those that don't know, we do trivia questions throughout the hour. Tonight there will be one of the trivia giveaways is Clyde's garden planner. And then there also from MK Lone Star Handcrafted is 2 candles she'll be giving away tonight. So let's get this show on the road. I'm ready.
On the road?
Oh.
All right.
On the screen?
Well, they're
somewhere.
here. They're here. Go ahead and say hello to everybody.
Greetings, everyone.
Hello.
So I want to start this off. Mike, can you explain what garden marketing is?
Okay, market gardening is basically gardening with the intent of making a profit from it, making it a market, making it a business. So that is what we do on our homestead. Is a major part of our homestead is running and operating our market garden. And we sell to restaurants, we do a CSA. We've done farmers markets in the past, but it's not something that we're doing now. We decided it wasn't for us. So that are some of the streams or revenue streams for market gardeners.
So you actually are selling your product before you produce it?
Yes to our CSA members, no to our restaurants. They buy it basically on delivery.
Okay. Now, do you deliver that to them or do they come and get it?
We deliver to everyone. There's no one that really comes pick up from our farm directly, but I take it to our restaurants. I first started doing restaurants by just taking them samples and saying, hey, this is what I grow. Let me know what you think about it. And then asking them about, kind of getting an idea of what they have on their menu to begin with, and then kind of seeing what they may want me to grow from them, for them. And some restaurants, especially if they're not a franchise or they're more of a high-end restaurant, they'll want items that are different from what everyone else is having on their menu. So it makes them stand out. It makes them look like, hey, you're going to have an experience when you go to that restaurant. So we game plan with the chefs and try to provide them with some of the items that they want. And as far as our CSA, we have a number of members, and they sign up, and we have different options for them where they can pay for a season, pay for a couple seasons, or pay for the whole year. And that is done mostly up front, and that really helps cover the cost, especially in these lean months of getting the farm started and a lot of momentum going. I hope that's what answer you're looking for.
Oh, yeah.
How did you figure out what to charge?
That is it's quite some research involved in that. You look somewhat of what's being charged around you, and you also consider what it is involved for you to grow it in your time. And I also ask what other farmers around the country are charging too. So it's not really one short answer to that, but overall it's something you kind of put some research in, and then
Hello.
once you kind of get to the end of it, you just kind of come up with a price and see if it works.
This is Daryl. Who's calling, please?
Hey, Daryl. This is Leslie Fox with Scratch Made Homestead.
Well, hi, Leslie.
Miss Leslie.
Hey, y'all.
How you doing, sweetie?
Oh, man, we are just sitting here watching you guys having a good time.
So, I take it that you're able to hear them okay, and they're looking pretty
Yes,
good.
we are, and we love their channel.
Yes, absolutely. So Leslie, you got any?
We have been watching him to learn about ducks and market gardening.
Ducks and market gardening.
I didn't hear the question. Can you repeat the question?
Well,
there wasn't a question. I said
Okay.
we have been enjoying his channel to learn about ducks and market gardening.
Learning about ducks.
Oh, okay. I heard you this time. Glad to hear that you like our channel and some of the things that we have about market gardening and ducks. So thank you very much for.
Cool.
There's a bit of a delay, but yeah, we love your channel.
Thank you.
Good night, y'all. Share, mention the menu.
okay.
Cool.
Okay.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes. Oh my God, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Okay, Leslie. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, y'all.
See you, Leslie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
I didn't know you had the phone line open.
Well, we had the phone line open.
Huh? That's right there.
Yeah. Surprised me when I heard the phone ring.
I know.
I said, oh, okay. Well, I guess I do have it turned on. So anyway.
I didn't know what was going on.
So folks, you all see how that works now, and feel free to call in, ask them questions, talk to them directly. If you would, make sure that the YouTube on your end is muted. Just turn that down before you call, and we can just listen over the phone, and we can eliminate as much of the echoing as possible. So, okay, where were we at when we were interrupted? We weren't interrupted, but
No, we were just talking about how they figured out how much to charge.
Oh yeah, how much to charge? So, did you kind of base that on store prices? Or...
Yeah, it was a combination of store prices, what others are charging around in the area, and what others are charging around the country as far as farmers that we know and contact. And then at the end of the day, it's just kind of figuring out what you think you can sell it for.
And what your local market will bear.
Yeah. So coming up with a price and saying, meet with the chef, saying, hey, this is what we're charging, and it's too much, they'll let us know. And
from a CSA standpoint, do you have a lot of competition there?
It's not oversaturated. I wouldn't say we have a lot of competition. We started off by going to the people that we already knew and had relationships with, and people that trusted us to begin with. And for anybody who's considered doing a CSA, I would recommend that. Just start with the people you already know, people who are already in your fan club and believe in what you're doing. And then you get referrals, and then you can kind of expand from there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few around here, not many.
Yeah. There's very few CSAs in our area. I'm not sure there's any right here. Right here locally where we're at, I'm not sure there are any. Is there?
I know of one.
No one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Here, Sailor, come here. You gotta say hey to
Come on this
around that way.
Watch the cord. Sailor wants to say hey to everybody.
Okay.
She's getting ready to get in the bed.
There's gorgeous.
Well, hello.
How are you? Good. Good. Are you ready to go to Missouri again?
Yeah,
Are you going to sell bracelets again?
I think so.
Good. I'll have to bring some money. My granddaughters still talk about you.
Oh, we got another one sneaking in here. Come on, Josiah, if you want to.
Watch the cord. Real quick, and then bedtime.
Let me get the phone here. This is Daryl. Who's calling, please?
Hey, Daryl, this is Charles, old Alabama gardener.
Well, Charles, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good.
So I think they can hear you. We got old Alabama gardener on the phone.
Hello, Charles. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Refresh my memory. Where are you guys at now?
We are in North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's a hop, skip, and a jump from me.
Where are you at?
North Alabama.
Okay.
Oh, not too far.
I did some driving through Alabama last year when I was driving to Selmer, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So where?
Great.
Selmer, Tennessee, just
Selmer.
outside of Memphis.
Yeah. So did you go through the north part of Alabama?
Yeah.
Yes,
Did you go through Huntsville?
I can't remember. I know I went through Talladega and.
Oh no. Okay. You was way down. You was way down south.
Oh, I was? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you was probably down around Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't spent much time in Alabama, so.
Well, I've been here for the last 40 years, so.
There we go. How's the temperatures been down there for you guys the past couple weeks?
It goes up and down. We've been running in the 50s, 55 maybe. Having a lot of rain. We're supposed to hit 70 sometime next week, though, so it'll be. I'm ready to start my garden. I already started seeds inside the house.
There you go. We hit 72 today, and we're looking forward to hopefully those temperatures coming back around to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you guys, are you growing in greenhouses, or are you just growing out in the open?
No, we grow in low tunnels, and I also grow in a caterpillar tunnel, and we also have a greenhouse that it's more of a transitional area to take stuff out into the garden.
Okay, yeah, I know about low tunnels and caterpillar tunnels and covering things up with row cover and things like that.
There we go.
Yeah. And I have found that I can use 2 layers of row cover and I can protect plants down to probably down to 10 degrees.
Yeah, that's right. You can. It's amazing how much those covers help and protect.
Yeah, and of course I'm not talking about something like tomatoes. I'm talking about greens and things like that.
Yep, same here. That's what we do. We can grow year round with the row covers, with the greens and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. You ever been growing any Japanese vegetables?
Not much.
And there may not be
this
may
year
not be
I've
a
started
demand
with
for it.
soy, but I haven't done a lot of it in the past.
Yeah, well, it may not be a market for it there. Depends on what the people want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have done the Japanese eggplant, and they haven't done extremely well.
We like them.
But I like them. Yeah, we like them as family.
I think that's
Well, yeah, I like them much better than the old big eggplant. And I find that they grow quite well here. They're like every plant. You got to give them what they need. If you don't give it to them what they need, they're not going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, just good to talk to you. You guys stay well, stay healthy, and keep on going.
Thank you very much. Same to you. Grow on.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Charles.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Charles. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, okay, Daryl.
There's a question out here. Do you have your own personal garden, and what do you grow?
I wouldn't say we have an area that's been dedicated to our own personal garden, but what we do is we get most of the rejects or some of the excess that comes from what we harvest for our customers, and especially during the main part of the season, there's plenty of that goes around, and there's so much that even the animals get a lot of those, especially in the summer months.
Papa Truck Prep Center is asking if you know anyone in Florida living in a yurt.
You? I don't know in Florida. It could be done. If it could be done here where it's really humid, it could be done in Florida.
Yeah. I don't know of anybody, though. I know there's some people in Virginia and Maine and a bunch of other more northern climates, but I don't know of anybody specifically in Florida.
Yeah, only thing with Florida, the depending what part of Florida. But if you're South Florida, you probably would definitely want AC for sure.
Yeah.
I bet.
Even in northern Florida. Here, we got AC last year because when it's 100 degrees inside your house, it's really hard to get anything done.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
Well,
we have a question wanting to know if you are going to the shindig in Arkansas in April.
No, we're not familiar with that.
I knew about it, but I knew we wouldn't be able to go, so I didn't tell you about it.
Yep. And then they're asking if you're selling duck eggs.
Yes. We sell duck eggs, mostly to our CSA customers, but I also sell to a small grocery store as well.
Cool.
And a lot of people who buy the duck eggs are usually either bakers or people who are allergic to chicken eggs are most of the people who buy the duck eggs. But I actually prefer the duck eggs over chicken eggs. It's just my personal preference.
There's a big taste difference?
For some people, they say the duck eggs taste gamier. I don't see that, especially if you scramble them. I tell you what, if I was to scramble them and present them, I bet most people wouldn't even know the difference.
No.
Most of the time, it's a texture issue, and it's more if you're doing them either over easy or just frying them out. If you cook them at too high of a heat, they get kind of rubbery.
Oh, yum. I can remember when my daughter was 6 months old, I went with a girlfriend of mine, and her daughter was a year, because they're or 18 months, they're a year apart, the girls. And her grandparents lived down in Kentucky, in Olive Hill. So if you want to go down to what they call a holler, this is where her grandparents lived, outhouse, the whole bit. I'm a city girl, so I've never, I've never slept in a bed never slept on a feather bed. They had a can in the corner of the bedroom if you had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Yeah, that was all new to me. So we got up in the morning and her grandma fixed breakfast, and I had never had a country breakfast, biscuits, gravy. I just fell in love with that. But then she put some sunny side eggs on my plate. I've never seen an orange egg, and I wouldn't touch it. My daughter ate it. She was 6 months old, what'd she know? But I wouldn't touch it.
Goldshaw Farm is asking what is the value on the duck eggs down there? What do you sell them for?
Anywhere from $7 to $8 a dozen, but I've seen people that sell them as much as $10 a dozen.
Okay.
Cool. Did people think you were crazy to live in a yurt?
Yes. It was kind of more of, they didn't necessarily come outright and say it, but you could tell they're like weird looks and like, really.
Our biggest question was, is there indoor plumbing? Yes. We have a running water bathroom.
One of the craziest ones came when we took a picture of the yurt, and the picture was slightly at an angle. Somebody asked, is it even level? I'm like, come on now.
No, we walk like this all day.
Yeah, we just roll down the yurt every day.
Well, heck, and now even on those, is it Travelocity or one of those stupid travel commercials, one of those things that's, you could stay at the beach, you could stay here in the mountains, you could live in a, stay in a yurt, and you're the first two people I think of.
Well, Mike, if you would you share with everybody what your former profession was?
Yeah.
And how did you then progress into farming?
Well, I worked in the health and fitness industry for a little over 15 years. Started off as a personal trainer and selling gym memberships, and continued on as a personal trainer and even managed a gym. And I did that for a long time, really enjoyed it, working with people. And I also was into bodybuilding, and I worked up to where I actually became a pro drug-free bodybuilder. And the more I got interested in health and diet, the more I became interested in where my food came from. And I actually got to the point where I was like, you know what? the best way to know the story behind my food and the quality is to actually begin growing it myself. So when we had our first house in the city, we wanted to have a garden. That was a goal of ours. And then we began having these things called kids, and made me even more mindful of providing good food for our family. So we tried to do as much as we could. I started learning more and more about gardening and growing food in the city. And then we got to the point where I wanted to do more. I really enjoyed getting my hands dirty and growing things and being able to see the fruits of your labor and also eat it and enjoy it. So I just kept going down the hole of homesteading, and I was like, oh man, I really want chickens. And
The gateway drug.
yeah, I just kept wanting to do more. But then we were met with the city ordinances, and they said that there to be no chickens on the property as a city ordinance. And for me, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back as far as us making the decision to leave the city. There was a number of other things that with city life that I really I felt like we needed to move. I really wanted my children to be able to get out and just explore, and we didn't have that option in the city, and there were just cars going up and down the road. And
We lived on a busy street.
And we had neighbors. It felt like every time I'd go outside and work in my garden, they were just looking at me weird and felt like we didn't have privacy. And I was like, you know what? Let's just get out of here. Let's move to the country. And Lacey's father had this property out here in the country. And remind me a little bit more of the story on how we made that connection. We both were wanting to come out and live in the country, but it was you that kind of proposed the yurt idea.
Yeah, he was at work one day, and I was at home with Sayla, and Josiah was little, and I looked on Craigslist. I was like, I wonder if there's a yurt on Craigslist. And I had teased him before about living in a yurt, and I looked, and there it was. And so I called him when he was at work. I was like, so what do you think about living on Dad's property?
All right, let me grab the phone here.
Okay.
This is Daryl. Who's calling, please?
This is Tracy from Micro Farm Starter.
Well, hello, Tracy. How you doing?
I'm doing
Tracy,
pretty good.
how's
How
it
you all
going?
doing?
Okay, I think Mike can hear you just fine. Mike can.
Okay, I just have a really quick question. One thing that you have to do is if you're running a farm or a homestead is to know what your goals are. And I like to do that myself. Is sometimes you end up reevaluating your goals from time to time. And we all have like short-term goals, like I have to get the garden in, or I have to get these animals set up, or things like that. But the question I have is, what is like one long-term goal you have? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, that is a great question. And Tracy, it's good to hear from you. I don't think I've seen you since the Homesteaders of America conference. The last time we met, Tracy. So, good to hear from you. I am constantly reevaluating goals and setting goals. Goals are extremely important. As far as a 5-year goal, I would like for the farm to be able to be at a point where I could have an employee or two be on the farm, and I am not the main one keeping it going. The family helps out a ton, but to have somebody that can come in and know the day-to-day things to do, and even if I want to take a day off or take the family somewhere, that I could do that and the farm not suffer, that would be pretty neat to have. So my goal right now, leading up to that 5 years, is to really put systems in place that make the farm more, not necessarily self-sufficient, but more sustainable and more efficient. That's the word I was looking for. That things work more efficiently.
Yeah, I'd have to say I 100% agree with that, especially with getting the systems in place. So, I want to really thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Well, I just want to say one more thing. Grow on.
Grow on.
All right. So I have another question for you here. Who do you feel influenced you the most with your gardening lifestyle?
Ooh, that is, there's a number of people. And I would say Jules DeVase was the first one who really got me to see how much you can grow in a small space. And he had the urban homestead in Pasadena, California, and he passed away a couple years ago, but his children still operate it. He got me started, and then from there, I thought that I wanted to do pasture poultry when we moved out here, but Joe Salton was the next one. But then after we started trying to do some of those things, we figured out that pasture poultry wasn't for us, nor is it appropriate for the context that we're farming on. From there, Joe Salton, I started listening to permaculture voices from Diego Footer, and then I got hooked on Curtis Stone. So,
and Jean Martin Fortier, who's another one that is in the same realm as Curtis Stone,
But Curtis Stone really got me to see that and believe that you can make money as a farmer, as a market gardener, and really see the numbers and how to actually make it happen. I didn't think you could really make money farming until then.
Have you had the opportunity to actually meet Curtis?
Yes, I have a couple times.
Cool.
And
cool.
I'm a huge fan of Curtis.
Cool.
And then from Curtis, it would be Ray Tyler, Rose Creek Farm. He kind of helped me take what I've learned from Curtis and then continue on with it.
And he was the first one that farmed with his family.
Yes.
That they have, I think, 6 kids now as of last summer. So they went from just being him and Ashley, his wife, and their kids, to actually having hired help on their farm too. So they went from 0 budget to doing really well, and they're really great people too. We got to spend some time with them in 2017.
So for me, the reason why we got into farming, I got into farming, began with the health side of it. Then I began to see the picture from Curtis Stone that you could actually make a business out of it at the same time. And then from there, the why got deeper for me, and I began to see more of the lifestyle of sharing life together as a family, and it's being something that you all can do together. So that is really, really important for me.
Cool.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
I have a few questions here. How did you meet? How did the two of you meet?
We met through a mutual friend. Actually, was one of my high school best friends. We all kind of went out together to the movies, and I don't want to say his name, but
I knew his friend, and so his friend said, "I have someone that you need to meet," and said the same thing to Mike. So we talked on the phone one night together, and we had already said we were all going to go out as a group, and I thought, after talking to him on the phone, I thought, this is going to be the worst date ever.
I am not a phone person. I still don't like talking on the phone.
No, he doesn't.
Now that they have these things with video now, that helps out a lot.
Yeah, you're fine in front of a camera. Your daughter rubbed off on you.
No, we all went out.
Okay, Mike, no podcast for you.
He doesn't mind doing podcasts. He knows there's a start and an end to what he has to do.
That's true.
And that works.
That's true. Country Homestead Preacher's asking, what is a rough estimate on the cost of a yurt?
Oh.
It really depends on if you're buying it brand new, what company you're buying it from, and how many windows you want, how many doors you want.
And size too.
And yeah, and size. So the one like we have from Pacific Yurt, just the basic package, that's without the flooring or anything. That's the sidewalls, the lattice work, and all. It's like $30,000 plus before you have any flooring or anything. Now there are other companies that are cheaper, but it all really varies on what you want.
If you wanted to go really basic, you could get something set up for less than $20,000.
Yeah.
What is it made of?
There was canvas and
wood. It's
and this wood
fur, isn't it?
Well, I know it has a wood skeleton frame, but I didn't know if it was canvas or if it was or what it was.
They have a couple different options for the exterior. It's like a canvas, and this one is like I don't think it's vinyl. Yeah, there's a number of different options.
There are different companies that have hard sidings too, that are more of big panels instead of completely just circular with the lattice work back here.
We're actually looking to make ours more of an harder wood exterior, so
yeah, we want to put siding.
We'll be able to do that soon. I don't know when exactly.
Is there challenges with insurance companies and so forth with your home?
We don't have.
Okay.
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I didn't know how an insurance company would feel about insuring a. Okay.
I don't think they would know how to even insure it. So, we live in a big tent.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, it's almost like a modified teepee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very modified.
I used to call it a glorified teepee. So
yeah. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Another question here is, what edible flowers are you growing?
Dahlias, marigolds, probably do calendulas too.
Cosmos, I want to grow some of those. Nasturtiums. What else?
Those are the main ones that stand out to me. When we went to Baker Creek and they taught us about dahlias, and I tried them, and they taste fantastic. They actually taste like lettuce. I was surprised.
I never knew dahlias were edible.
I didn't either.
It's like all these things my mother grew, and heck, they were just flowers. I don't think she even knew that. If she would have known, trust me, they would have been in a salad. That was my mother.
Okay, well let's take a little break here, get a trivia question handled. So just sit back and relax, and we'll get this queued up here.
Well, hi folks, it's trivia time again, and we have to have some rules for this, so they are as follows. Number 1, you can only win once every 4 weeks. Number 2, you must be the first person to answer the question correctly in the chat window as it appears embedded on the screen here. Your chat window may have a different order. And number 3, you have to send an email to twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com. Send us your mailing address so we know where to send your winnings. Good luck.
Okay, and for those of you that might be new here this evening, we have a couple trivia questions, or 2 or more questions every week. Tonight, for our first question, the person who guesses the answer correctly will be getting a candle from MK Lone Star Handcrafted. And what you'll need to do is send us via email your. Actually, I guess with this we don't need their mailing address. We just need to get to them. So just email us, and we will give you a code that you can use on their website, and it will be shipped to you. If you are in the continental United States, there is no charge for shipping. If it's outside of the continental United States, there will have to be some sort of arrangements made prior for shipping.
Right.
Right? Did I do that right?
Yes, you did.
All right. So, the first question, let me get it queued up here, is, What is Mike's favorite era of music? What is Mike's favorite era of music?
Dixie Living Homestead.
Yep, Dixie Living Homestead, the 80s.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
See, people know you, don't they?
That's funny.
80s, 90s, yeah, 92.
All right. Dixie Living Homestead, you need to send us an email, please. Send it to twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com. And we'll return to you via email the code. And we'll get them back up on the screen here. And we'll have a couple more questions as the night progresses.
There was a question here, Mike and Lacey, Kinfolk Farm of Georgia. Are you guys going to the Mother News Earth Fair in April?
In Asheville?
I think that's the one in April.
We hadn't thoroughly talked about it. I'd like to go, so we're not sure. Right? Yeah, we've been before, and we like it. So we'll consider it. I'm not saying for sure.
Well, Mike, you are going to be a speaker, are you not, at a couple different events this year?
Yes, well, we're planning to be at the Baker Creek Spring Planting Festival. That is in what, May?
May.
The first Sunday and Monday in May.
Then I think we have a break for a while until the Homesteading Life Conference in Missouri, in Hannibal, Missouri. Okay. And we're planning to be at the Homesteaders of America in, was that October?
October in Virginia.
11.
Yep.
Well, I think we'll see you at least 3 times this year then.
There we go.
Oh, great.
I'd love to go back to the National Heirloom Expo in California, but we'll see on that one too.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that. It's a long way for us to go.
Yeah, I have my sister's out in California, but yeah, that's a long trip.
It sure is.
Yeah. We might hit up the Mother Earth News one in September. That's in Pennsylvania. In September, right? Isn't that the one? Yeah.
Mike, what kind of animals do you have at the farm? I know you have ducks, and I know you have chickens. But
other than that, we have dogs, cats,
and children.
Yeah.
Well, that's well rounded.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know if you had any cows, goats.
No cows, but I did forget one. We have one goose.
Yes. Greg.
That sounds like that might have been influenced by Justin, maybe. Was he an influence in getting you a goose?
He influenced in getting the goose.
Partly.
That's why we need one.
Yeah.
But our friends had an extra goose that they needed to get rid of, so we took him.
How much?
He sounds like a dinosaur.
How much property do you have there?
The property we're on is 10 acres, and our farm really only operates on about 2, maybe.
Yeah. Well, you could say 3 if you consider the pond.
Yeah, the pond's an acre itself.
Roots and Refuge just asked, Mike, where's the boss?
Hello.
She's in the bed.
Oh, hello, Jessica and Maya. Yeah, she's in the bed. You just missed her.
Yep, she sure did. But I got to see her.
Yeah.
She keeps looking down here like this. Keeps waving her arms. Oh, there she goes again.
It's probably that wind going again, like she did in one video. The look on Mike's face was, are you really doing that? I love it. Will you be doing videos of the kids training the pups?
We do need to do some more of those. I'm glad somebody asked about that. Yeah, we'll have to do that. They were working with them earlier today, actually.
Cool. And if you could pick 5 animals to be on the homestead, what would they be?
5. Definitely ducks. That's automatic. Chickens, yeah. Go chickens too.
I want a miniature donkey.
Oh, is this just like totally dreamy?
I heard somebody in the rafters.
Yeah, somebody in the rafters was hollering something out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sayla yelled that she wanted a horse, and then Josiah followed that up with he wants an iguana.
An iguana.
We probably should kind of clarify this question a little bit. Is this just totally just dreaming? Or is this animals we're looking to make an efficient homestead?
This past weekend, we took Smudge to get his shots, and we went to a TSC because they're cheaper than the vet. And they had one of the 4-H clubs set up there. And they had, some of the young girls had some chickens, some big, beautiful black chickens. And then they had miniature horses, miniature ponies. And no, I swear to God, Smudge was as big as both of those ponies. And the one girl looked at Smudge and said, "Yeah, that puppy's as big." Yeah, he is as big as your ponies. So tell Sayla she'll have to wait till she sees Smudge this year, because he's coming to Missouri with us. Mm-hmm.
If we're just dreaming, I'll take a giraffe.
Oh goodness, I love it. What are the top 5 seeds for garden do you recommend?
As far as specific varieties, or more of like lettuce?
Doesn't specify.
I definitely would start with the green of some sorts. I would probably say a leaf lettuce, maybe a red or green salad bowl lettuce. Maybe a kale, or curly kale. Maybe we should move on from the greens.
We can name 5 greens, probably.
Cherry tomatoes, you can get a lot from cherry tomatoes. And those can be pretty profitable too. So that's 3. Radishes, that would be another one. That one's easy to grow, quick, especially if you do something like a French breakfast radish. You can get it harvested in 20 days. And those can sell pretty good too. So, is that 4?
I don't know.
I didn't know we were supposed to keep track, Lacey.
Number 5 would be microgreens.
There you go, yeah.
Mike, do you have any plans in the future to have any perennial type things, as far as like maybe fruit trees or berry bushes or asparagus or other things like that, that you don't have to replant all the time?
Yes, and we have a couple of those already on the property. We have persimmons trees on the property, and then we have the walnuts. But we'd like to do more things like blueberries and things like that.
The biggest thing has been that we keep moving stuff around. We haven't had just a specific place that we knew for years to come that we wanted that to be there.
And that kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier about your systems in place. I know it can be a good idea and a bad idea to plant your perennials first. We didn't do it first, and I can't say that I would recommend doing it first, because especially the first couple of years, you're trying to figure out where you want things to be to begin with. And if you go ahead and plant those, you could put them in a totally wrong area, and then say, "Oh man," and it'll put you in a bad spot. So we've been trying to refine and figure out where we want things to be, as far as where the garden is exactly, and how far the garden extends in whatever directions they extend, where we're going to have the animals. And then I feel like we got a good grasp on that now. That now we can start implementing more perennial trees and perennials going forward, when we get to that point to do it, doing it.
Well, from the gardening standpoint, and this could just be maybe my way of looking at it, but you hit the ground pretty hard with producing a lot from a small area for your CSA, and because you're looking at it from an income standpoint. So do you follow that up with a lot of rotational type stuff, or do you do a lot of amending, or how do you handle the ground?
A combination of both. I do rotate, and we do amend and add compost on a regular basis as well. So we do a combination of both of those, and I think that is important. Because you want to think that you're taking from the soil, but you also want to be on the mindset of you need to give back to the soil as well and let it have time to heal too.
Right. So I didn't know if maybe you left an area unplanted for 1 year and just throw in a cover crop or something, or?
We haven't done cover crop, but we have used we've covered it with tarps, and I do plan to let the land rest for a full year when we get to that point of have like a sabbatical year for our land to just rest. But we're not there yet, and I do think that those things are important.
Okay.
Farmer Alarm is asking, do you ever wish you didn't live in a yurt?
Yes, there's 2 times a year that I really think about that in my mind, and that's when it's the coldest time in the winter and when it's the hottest time in the summer. But other than that, I would say overall the answer is I'm definitely glad that we went forward with doing yurt, because it was a cost-effective way for us to get started on our homestead. We were working with a really, really tight budget to begin with, and without it, I don't think we would have been doing what we're doing right now if it wasn't for the yurt as an option.
What got you started to YouTube?
Mostly Justin Rhodes. That with a combination of we had this thought of, it'd be neat to just journal what we're doing for us to look back on. And then we were thinking about that, and why don't we just do like Justin Rhodes and just share it on YouTube? So those are the 2 main things that we're thinking about and how we got started with it. And the feedback that we get from everybody, from the comments and the love and support, that really helps keep us going.
Yeah.
It really is encouraging.
There's been plenty of times where we want to quit.
Yep.
We have a question here. Have you thought of having alpacas?
I have not thought about it at all. I don't know about you. One of the things that I try to keep in mind, and I felt like I did this wrong to begin with, is especially when you're getting started homesteading, you're so excited about getting started, and there's so many things that you can do with homesteading. Mm-hmm. You want to do it all. And then when you do that, you're not doing anything well. And that's where we were. We had so many different things going on. We just decided to refine our focus, and I still keep that in mind. I really want to do well with what we're doing. I don't want us to have so many different things going on that we're not doing anything well.
He was so excited about getting chicken that we actually got chicken before we moved onto this property.
Yeah.
So every other day we were coming down here and having to come water and feed our chickens.
Yep.
Let me tell you, that was not a fun time.
Yeah.
I know you've had some challenges with your greenhouse and the weather. Do you is this something that you're looking to maybe have a more permanent type greenhouse structure in the future here that's more weather resistant? I know you get some storms through the area where you live there. So
yes, we have a greenhouse that I'm just now working on finishing right now. That it is concrete. The poles are concreted into the ground, so that one shouldn't go anywhere.
Okay.
I'll still do the caterpillar
Well, I sure
tones,
hope
and they're
not.
kind of temporary out in the main market garden. But I am definitely concreting at least the corner post in of most of the setups that we have, just because I didn't even know we had winds as bad as we do until I started putting these structures up.
Yeah, that wind when it catches that plastic, that's quite the sail.
Yeah. And if anybody's thinking about the wind and the yurt really doesn't have any problems with the wind, with it being circular. The wind really doesn't catch on the curved sides of the yurt, since there's no corners.
No, of course, you probably have to have your door closed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you have to make sure that the dome is not open, because potentially it could rip the dome off the top.
Wow.
But other than that, we haven't ever had any problems with wind.
Okay, so the dome, it's like a pop-up thing on the top, is it not?
It'll just like lever up just a little bit. So really, whenever you screw it, and it'll screw up, and it'll only open about 4 or 6 inches, which just lets air out the top.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's just for ventilation in the summer primarily.
mm-hmm.
Peaceful inspirations. How do you keep your planting and harvesting organized?
How do you do this?
I don't have a good answer for that. I kind of have a general guideline that I go off of, and some of that's from Curtis Stone and Ray Tyler. Their planting schedules they really push what you think you can do, what you can grow, and you're starting things much sooner than you think you would be able to. And this year I've actually pushed that even more, just trying to maximize what we can grow. I actually started stuff and transplanted it in December, and we actually have things ready to harvest right now from those plantings. So I don't necessarily. It's kind of more of I wish I had a better answer, like I'm going with a certain program, or I definitely have it all figured out. I don't. It's kind of more of just figuring it out on a season by season basis. And you know what? And the needs and wants of your customers change too. So I can have it all planned out, but then I have a chef that says, no, I don't want that. I want this. So I'd have to throw that out the window anyways, and go from there. So probably not the answer you're looking for or hoping for, but that's kind of what we do.
So do you have any buildings in the back of your mind that you feel that you should be building as you progress and your business grows? Do better for the harvesting, for the packaging, for the staging to get it to market?
Right now we're this year here in the next few weeks, we'll work on finishing a project that we started last year, and we did a wash and pack station. We poured concrete so that we're actually working on a concreted surface to wash and package our produce, and we'll be finishing up a commercial walk-in cooler. What are the dimensions on that again?
Wow.
14 by 11 walk-in cooler. So that will be where we keep our produce cool. Other than that, the only other structure that I have in mind is having some type of tool shed. That's one of my annoyances right now. Tools are just everywhere. So we spend more time looking for tools than I feel like than using them.
Trust me, just because you have a building to put them in doesn't mean that that's where they're going to be. Right, sir?
Sounds like some people have the same problem.
We have a few little hands that like to move them around.
Blame them. Yeah, blame the littles. There you go. Question: do your customers pre-order so you know what to plant?
Not for our CSA. We kind of have it. We kind of have it where it is each season they'll receive eggs, a root crop, an herb or microgreens and just regular greens on top of any summer crops that we may have. So it's kind of like a bundle that they're kind of knowing what they'll receive, kind of, but not exactly. It gives us some flexibility, so we're not having to necessarily have the exact thing every time.
Right.
But
that goes hand in hand. I'm assuming it's Jess. It could be Maya. How did you source your microgreen customers?
They came from the CSA and the restaurants, and actually, I think that was the lead way on how I got the restaurants. I just took them a bag full of the microgreens, and they loved them.
Cool. Are any of your crops ever wasted, and what do you do with what you don't sell?
Yeah, they are wasted. I would say sometimes it happens that where there's root rot or big bolt or whatever, if they're not good enough for us to eat, then we either give them to the animals or compost them. And the ducks really love them.
How do you keep the ducks out of your garden?
We have our garden fenced in, and the ducks are also in separate electrified fencing for most of the time, unless we let them out. But still, the whole perimeter of the primary garden is fenced in.
Do you have any other problems with other wildlife?
That's what the dogs are for. The dogs kind of discourage deer and other animals from coming onto the property, and they do a fantastic job with that. Before we had the dogs, I would have deer come in and eat the tomatoes and some of the lettuce that we had growing out in the garden.
Okay, well, let's get another trivia question here. So just kind of sit back and take a quick break here, and we'll get going on this.
Well, hi, folks. It's trivia time again.
Design.
And we have to have some rules for this, so they are as follows. Number 1, you can only win once every 4 weeks. Number 2, you must be the first person to answer the question correctly in the chat window as it appears embedded on the screen here. Your chat window may have a different order. And number 3, you have to send an email to twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com. Send us your mailing address so we know where to send your winnings. Good luck.
Okay, and again, for anybody that maybe came in since, if you weren't here when we did the first one of these, if you are the winner, you need to send us an email. In this particular case, we're in competition for the Clyde's Garden Planter. Fantastic little tool. We had the pleasure of meeting him last year at the Life Conference, and it's a great little tool that he has come up with. It's almost like a slide rule for gardens. So let me get things lined up here. And question number 2 is, what is Mike's favorite dessert that Lacey makes? What is Mike's favorite dessert that Lacey makes?
Yeah, I did a whole video on how to make them.
Yeah.
Cheesecake. Oh, that's a good one. The bars. Look at that. Blueberry pie. The blueberry bars. Donna Finley.
Donna?
Jonna
Finley got it.
Jonna Finley.
Okay.
Jonna Finley. Blueberry bars. So if you would.
Great job.
Yep. Send an email to twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com and give us your mailing address. We'll get with Clyde and he'll send one of those to you in the mail.
Clyde will send that to you. Okay,
There's
sweet.
microgreen garnish.
I ruined the microgreen.
Oh, that just sounds yummy. Is that Jess or Maya?
I don't know, but he hates chocolate anyway. He would never eat chocolate.
Yeah, why ruin the microgreens with chocolate?
Oh my gosh.
Singing metal tea. There we go.
Singing metal tea is
He
good.
likes metal tea too.
Okay, and don't forget the phone line is open. If you've got any questions, like to say hi to Lacey and Mike, feel free to call in. I can take one caller at a time. If we're on the phone and a call would come in, I have to refuse it, the second call. So, any more questions come up through, Sherry?
Nope, haven't seen them. They were all busy guessing. Some of the strangest things I've ever seen, but they were guessing.
We are weird, so.
Oh gosh, I love it. Yeah, Red Shed says, who hates chocolate?
I'm one of the weirdos that
Yeah,
do.
I
hate chocolate.
I like white chocolate. I like white chocolate.
White chocolate's probably the only one I would eat.
Yeah, my mother was a chocoholic. That one there's a chocoholic. My kids are. Yeah.
Okay. So on your property this year, are you growing anything new this year that you've not grown before? Some experimentation in the works.
There's a number of Baker Creek varieties that we're experimenting with. One lettuce that is the flashy gem from Baker Creek. I've never grown that. We're going to try to see what happens with that. There's also a lemon squash that I look forward to trying. Kendall from Baker Creek said that it is a squash that squash bugs hate, and they've never had any problems with them, with squash bugs or any other.
Or very little.
So I look forward to trying those. There's a number of peppers that we'd like to try. But most of them are the Baker Creek varieties. There's a lot of just interesting things that they have, and we just want to see if it works well for a market gardening standpoint.
Now, now your garden is rows in the ground. You're not working with raised beds or anything. So it's rows in the ground, and you're using a cover, a ground cloth of some sort that has holes in it. Is that correct?
Yes, that is. And we're doing raised beds, but they're earthen raised beds. I used to do raised beds that were made of block and wood, and I think that works well in a small context. But when you're starting to grow in anything more than, I'd maybe say it, more than a quarter of an acre, it is really not an efficient way of doing it. And it can be very costly if you have to buy a lot of the materials to make those kind of raised beds. So what was that, 2 years ago, I decided we're just scrapping the way we did it with those raised beds made of block and wood. And I am so glad that I did that, because I'm able to do things much more efficiently. And we have the woven landscape fabric that we use now. And what we do is, in that landscape fabric, we have holes where we put our transplants in. And where the holes aren't, that landscape fabric keeps unwanted plants, weeds from coming up. And it really makes your harvest much cleaner and easier to work with.
So on this fabric, is this reusable year after year, or is it waste after the first year?
No, you can buy the cheap kind. You can go to Lowe's and buy the cheap kind, and it won't last you long. But if you use the DeWitt Sunbelt landscape fabric, or you can go to Bootstrap Farmer, they also have landscape fabric as well. Those will last you a few years.
And they even have like warranties on them.
Yes, I highly recommend that. And Curtis Stone uses it. Ray Tyler uses it, and many other farmers use this landscape fabric, and it holds up very well.
How about irrigation?
Irrigation is something we're still trying to refine. We use the mini wobblers. I've used drip tape in the past, and I'm also considering doing some overhead irrigation in our caterpillar tunnels. So I'm by far not an expert on irrigation, but it's something we're trying to definitely refine right now.
Is that something you're going to utilize, some sort of a pump system from your pond, Or are you gonna?
That could be tricky using water from the pond. That may work from a homesteading standpoint, but it's not something that will what was that?
Selling to the public, that becomes a problem because it could have bacteria in there. So it's a higher risk. So that's something that you really don't want to take on. So we do use our well.
Yeah, so we're trying to avoid using the water from the pond on anything that we sell to the public.
Okay. I guess I hadn't even really thought about that from a plant standpoint. I thought water was water, but so would you, if you could, use rainwater? Store it in barrels.
I've considered doing some of that as well. We don't necessarily have the system in place for that yet, but I would use some of that, especially from a drip standpoint. I have done a little bit of that in the past, so we may do some more of that. And I like to use drip on plants like tomatoes, especially for us living in a humid environment. It really helps keep a lot of the fungus away instead of having that moisture sit on the leaf.
Somebody's, and I forget where it was, I'm trying to scroll up, if you considered doing bees.
I have, but I'm not sure if they heard earlier. It's one of those things that I just really want to refine our focus before we begin adding new things on. And just do what we do really well before we decide to take on something new.
I know that you've made a couple videos where you talk about the importance of getting away, the entire family just getting away from it for a short period of time. And I think you plan to do that a couple times a year. Have you just incorporated that into your speaking engagements, or does that count as work and you want additional getaway time?
I think you need additional too. This is me, just because to have the downtime where you're not, especially for me, I just feel like not having times where you just go, that you can just kind of sit, unwind, let your mind just kind of be at peace. I think it's beneficial to do every now and then, whether that be just going somewhere in the mountains or just taking some time off. I think it's very beneficial to everybody.
So what's your favorite getaway?
Me, my favorite getaway, it doesn't have to be a certain place. It's more of somewhere where I could go and just kind of be left alone, and more if you can get out in nature. I don't want to be anywhere where there's just like amusement parks and all this shopping. Just a place where you could just kind of get out in the middle of nowhere. My dream thing would be to go somewhere like an excursion with outfitters or something out in Montana somewhere. Just take me out in the middle of nowhere under the stars. I can be in a tent or something and just unwind and just kind of sit there and absorb nature. That would be my idea.
Do you hunt?
I don't, but that's something I would like to get into more. I just need more time for that one.
J Love Adventures is asking, how much land do you need to keep a couple of ducks?
Ooh, not much. It kind of depends on how many you're looking to do. I'd say maybe if you're even on 1/10 of an acre, you could have a duck or two and be completely fine.
Micro farm starter, how long did it take to build up your CSA?
Say a year and a half. The first year that we did it, even maybe say 2 years. The first year we did it, I wish I had more guidance on it. There's not a lot of guidance on starting up a CSA. So we definitely had more flexibility for our customers than we probably should have. We instead of having it where they were to expect something every so often, we kind of had it open-ended where they just kind of bought things here and there, and it really wasn't as organized as we'd like. So that first year I probably wouldn't really count. So you could, if you kind of know what you're doing, you can kind of really get it going in 6 months to a year, going really well.
Well, that would be an awesome video. The how-tos starting a season. Oh yeah, I bet you'd get that. That would get a lot. Not that your videos don't get a lot of views now, but yeah, I think that would definitely take off.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Yeah. What is the next big project that you want to do?
I don't know if they'd ever stop. Right now I'm finishing up the permanent greenhouse, the end walls and the doors, finishing that up. I'm also in the process of making sure the beds are ready for some other beds to be ready for transplants to go into. So that's quite the project too. And also our property is on a slope, so I've been gradually over time terracing the land so that way the garden it's not washing away the topsoil or washing away the plant. So that's been an ongoing project as well. That on top of the walk-in cooler finishing our washing pack station and having it refrigerated.
And terracing the land, he's been doing that by hand. So it's just him and a
The red shed is asking how old your kids are.
8, 6, and 2. One's getting ready to turn 7.
Josiah will be 7.
It's time to have another one, isn't it?
I'm up for it.
Look at the eyes. You don't see the one behind you though, Mike. You have all the fun in this.
That's the question. But I don't know.
You can always use more farm hands.
Have your own soccer team. Deer Park Farmstead is asking, do you use shade cloth and what percentage?
Yes, 50%. And it's one of those things that is pretty essential for growing greens in the summer as well as your greenhouse if you're still trying to use it in the summer.
Cool.
Especially where we live.
I have so many bugs in my yard. It's South Texas. Would leaves be okay to use as mulch?
What are you growing in the mulch?
I'll have to see what she says. Roost and Refuge, you're like the Stallone of Homesteader YouTubers. I like that.
To show your gun.
That's fun.
Tomatoes is what they're growing.
Oh yes, that would work for that.
Okay.
I've done that before. I wouldn't do anything that's a short crop where it's going to make it hard for you to work in it. So I wouldn't do something like a radish, but anything like tomatoes, it's going to be there just a little bit longer. That's totally fine.
And BC Truck and Brad, I will tell you, yes, they still do live in a yurt. Is that a permanent housing, or are you working toward a hard-sided home?
Permanent for now.
It's permanent. That wasn't the original plan. Original plan was for us to set up the yurt and have it to where we could move it to a future dream property. But because we had to deal with a lot of the building codes here in our county, it's pretty much permanent. And we are looking to put permanent side on here. I don't know how long we'll be here. I would like to continue to keep this, even if we do move off of here as like a remote farm or maybe even Airbnb, but I'm not sure. But definitely permanent right now.
And Farm Alarm is asking, what are the kids' favorite chores on the farm?
You mean the ones we don't have to force them to do?
I was going to say, isn't a chore something the kids don't like to do?
There's some that they like, and there's some that they don't like for sure.
Yeah. It depends on the time of day and what day it changes.
Sayla is excellent at transplanting, and she's really good at starting microgreens, and she really likes dealing with her puppies on most days.
Yeah. Josiah likes to help you shovel.
Josiah likes to be there just to kind of help me in different projects, whether it's hand me screws or just kind of be there to hang out with me. And he likes using a dibbler and helping prepare the holes for the transplant, but he doesn't necessarily like transplant.
I'm going to ask Lacey, are you homeschooling?
Yes, we do homeschool.
Okay.
Cool. The Red Shed is asking, did you ever find a home for cotton?
Yes.
We did.
We did.
Cool. Did you use any government grants to help grow your homestead in any way?
No.
And with that, let's get this last trivia question out of the way.
Sounds like a good one.
Well, hi folks, it's trivia time again, and we have to have some rules for this, so they are as follows. Number 1, you can only win once every 4 weeks. Number 2, you must be the first person to answer the question correctly in the chat window as it appears embedded on the screen here. Your chat window may have a different order. And number 3, you have to send an email to twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com. Send us your mailing address so we know where to send your winnings. Good luck.
Okay.
The Red Shed, I'm going to have nightmares. Red Shed, come up here and then you can really have nightmares when you see how big he is.
Sherry, go ahead and talk to him here for just a moment while I change this.
Well, I'm having fun reading the answers.
Reading the answers? People
Yeah.
are answering?
Oh, they always answer. You know, we always have the one that answers opossum. I'm surprised it's not pizza. Oh, yeah, Lacey. When we first started this, Duncan 1900, they're from Missouri. And one of her answers every single time is opossum pizza. Yeah. They can keep that one in Missouri.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
Okay.
How fast is that?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. We had to change things up a little bit because the third question was already kind of talked about.
It sure was.
So, and in all fairness, Mike and Lacey had no idea. We didn't know we were doing 3 questions until I think an hour before the show. But the prize for the third question will be another soy candle from MK Lone Star Handcrafted. And if you send us your email, we'll send you back a code where you can get a free soy candle from them. So the question is, how much did the yurt cost from Craigslist?
Oh, well, that's a good question.
That is a good one.
How much did the yurt cost? Alan Lambert. Olin Lambert.
Yep.
Olin Lambert. Got it first.
Wow.
Wow.
Boy, you folks are right on top of this tonight.
That's fantastic.
Very good.
All right, and just so everybody knows, we've gone just a little bit over an hour here. We don't want to tie them up. Mike, Lacey, do you have a little bit more time or?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, folks, they've got a little bit more time they're willing to share with you. They've been absolutely wonderful guests here tonight. I hope you're all having a good time and learning something from them.
Mm-hmm. I am.
So, get your questions out. The phone number is open.
A couple hours ago.
If you'd like to ask them a question personally or just say hi to them or wish them well, see what's going on new with them this year. And with that, I'm going to ask them another question here.
Go for it.
Do you consider yourself to be a prepper at all?
I don't consider us to be preppers, but I feel like as homesteaders, you're still prudent in foreseeing tough times. That is just a part of the homesteader mindset. So I would say more of a homesteader, farmsteader, but not necessarily a prepper.
You know some preppers.
We do. I actually thought about doing a video on this same topic.
Well, there you go. I know that's kind of kind of a hot topic there. Kathleen Carrington, thank you so much for the super chat. We certainly appreciate it. What about canning and preserving? Do you do any of that, Lacey? I'm going to ask Lacey. I don't know that Mike would do it.
Well, I grew up canning, and I've wanted to, but since we've actually moved down here, it's been difficult because we just either haven't had the extra to can, or I just haven't had the time to do it.
Okay, let me catch the phone here. This is Daryl. Who's calling, please?
Hey, Daryl, this is Jump Off.
Hey, Jump Off, how you doing?
Hey, not too bad. How you folks doing?
We're doing fine. What kind of question you got?
Yeah, I see. Mike and Lacey are on.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
I hope they're smiling at me. I had to turn down the sound.
Oh.
I had a question. How much homework do you have to do in order to put your farm business active or going? I mean, it's from what you've been saying most of the night, you've really got to tighten down the nuts and bolts on your homework. Know exactly what your people need, what they expect from your produce, how to ship it to them, how to get it to them, the prices on a day or a weekly basis, so on and so forth. How do you get it all together and not go crazy?
Interesting. That is
How to do it.
a very good point. I haven't necessarily thought about it like that, but you are right. It's a business. It's just like any other business. You got to put in the time, the thought, the research, all the things that need to be done to know your business and learn about it. And on top of learning the business side of it, to learn the skill side of it as well. So it's a challenge. It definitely one of the challenges.
And some of it's just experience of just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that people have a hard time. They want to learn, and they don't want to go ahead and do it. And Mike just jumped right in. And so we've learned a lot by just doing it.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I learned a lot from Curtis Stone. And that was one of the things that he had said. He said, just do it. If you're like, definitely evaluate yourself of whether you're serious about doing it, not that you're just a little bit interested or you want it to be just a little hobby, that you're really serious about doing it. I was really, really, really serious about doing what we're doing. So when Curtis said, just do it, I was like, I need to just do it. So I learned what I could a lot from him and a lot of other things, but you also go through the school of hard knocks, and definitely went through that, and everybody will, of just getting beat up and doing things wrong and then figuring out and just making changes along the way.
Well, did you surround yourself with people that are willing to give you advice or give you a helping hand on a certain matter or situation?
More distant, no one really locally. Not really a lot of local people doing the type of farming that I was interested in doing. There's a lot of people doing conventional farming, but there's more people now since these past 5 years have been on this road of doing what we're doing, but no one was originally. I'd probably say the closest person to me and was that I knew of was a mentor was Justin Rhodes, but then he was doing something different than we were doing, but he mentored me in other ways. But Curtis Stone is one of the main ones, and Ray Tyler, that kind of gave me advice from the mentorship of how we farm.
Well, my hats are off to you for hitting the ground running practically. I mean, I would, or most people would be scared to do a venture that you had no or little experience in. I mean, I've seen guys who proclaim that they make $100,000 a year by doing microgreens, and you're doing something similar but more towards the restaurant industry than microgreens to a grocery store or something like that.
Yeah, thank you. It definitely was a thought in my head as we started this journey. I was early 30s, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to, with kids, I want us to be able to make these hard changes now that they're young. They won't remember the harder times of going through the difficult changes. So I was like, now's the time for us to do it. Not to say that you can't do it when they're a little older, but for us, I felt like it was time.
I don't know. Your daughter there seems to be the salesman there. She might be being charged the business in a few short years.
Hey, she's got a lot of skills, and she actually helped me get our first restaurant customer. So she's a big part of that.
Well, y'all take care. I know you're busy.
All righty.
I'll let somebody else get on the phone, and it's good seeing you.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
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 You too. Bye.
We have home field honey and produce. Mike, when you direct seed, do you use a seeder, and what brand?
It's called Lacey.
All right. I have to ask, do you put her in the wheelbarrow position, pick her feet up, and just...
My finger one at a time.
That'd be interesting right there.
This is a family show.
We don't have a seeder yet. That's something I'd like to get maybe this year. We mostly do transplants, so it's not a huge need for it. But I would go with probably the Jang cedar, which is one of the ones that a lot of people that I know recommend. So that may be the route we go here soon. But other than that, it's by hand or transplant.
How about power tools in your garden? Do you... I know Curtis Stone uses, I'm going to call it a very robust tiller. BMG or something?
He uses the BCS walk behind tractor.
Yeah.
I was going to say, BFV, isn't that a place?
For some time, I wanted one of those on our property, but I thought after some time, I considered and thought about it. We're really too small. I think you need to be at least an acre to really need that on a regular basis. So I mostly use a mini cultivator, but you could use a walk-behind tractor to get you started to break ground for the first time if you're looking to do it quick, or you could just let chickens do it. But if you're looking to do it quick, you need something to break the ground. And then from there, you could rent one if you need it every so often. But I do just fine with a broad fork, a mini cultivator, and a flame weeder. Those are the most tools that I use on the farm. Because if you're dealing with loose soil and you're just getting that broad fork in there and you're aerating the soil, and the mini cultivator just does a light tillage on top to help you with transplanting to make it real easy, you don't really need much. You could go spending a lot of money on all different tools, but if you're looking to get started, especially on a budget, you can really get away with not having many tools.
Okay. I was just looking over. Sherry was typing 1,000 words a second over here.
Roots and Refuge are leaving, so I did a pound sign euchre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you know who answered it. It says, "Yep, I hope you're trained up and ready." Little does he know.
Yeah, that's all right. These kids have to be taught sometimes. That's all I can say. So I know that. Are you going to do pretty much the same program you did at the Life Conference as what you did last year?
We talked about, as far as what I'm going to speak on, thought about microgreen. So we'll see what else we go from. We'll talk about from there, but we might be doing a talk on microgreen.
And are you going to speak at the Homesteaders of America conference as well?
We were talking with them today about the possibility of speaking about yurt living. So.
Okay.
Nothing's finalized or anything, so we don't know about that.
Okay.
So we'll see them at least 3 times. We'll see them in May, and then August and October.
Yeah.
Yeah. So So anybody planning to go to any of those conferences, go ahead and get your tickets. Especially now that the Homesteaders of America, they're still discounted.
Yes.
But get them before they sell out. And we want to see people there.
Farmer Alarm is asking if you're speaking at Baker's Creek.
Yes. Don't know what I'm speaking on there yet. We're still trying to figure that one out. So waiting to hear back.
See, we've never even been there. So this will be
Gotta go.
this will be a first time for us. We're going to camp there on their property. I guess they open up a pasture where you can camp free. So
They say that the whole pasture around Baker Creek is full, and so
well, we're
excited to go back.
We're getting there early,
really
so
cool.
I think they said they open it up Friday morning.
I think so.
So we're probably gonna leave here on a Thursday and boondock someplace at a Walmart parking lot or something somewhere, and we'll get there early so we can get some decent spot to put our camper and go from there. It'll be.
We were blown away by the people there at Baker Creek. I'd never seen a company that everybody there was so kind and so giving. We are huge fans of Baker Creek.
Yeah, they're quite the company as far as I'm concerned. We've done some research on them, and I know that we have spoken to them. Sherry has done this for some of the. Well, like for the gathering, just for example, and they've sent us seeds to be given away at the gathering.
Yeah, I have a case of seeds behind me, and some of them I've been giving away here as giveaways. Downstairs, I have 5 cases of their seed catalogs. I don't know what I'm going to do with 5 cases.
Yeah, so those are all going to the gathering, and
they can line the streets with as many pages there are. Wow. But they've been wonderful. You know,
yeah,
I can't wait to go.
Great company.
I can't wait to go. Yeah, Grim Reaper says free camping, can't beat that. Yeah, anything free sounds good to me. Yeah, we'll be the ones with the t-shirts on with the dog on our chest, and also be the ones with the dog probably dragging me around. I'll put a harness. We can have them give pony rides to the little ones.
Yeah, for the past couple of years, we've just ventured to Tennessee, which happens to be on that same weekend as Baker's Creek. So this year, we're going to Baker's Creek.
Yep.
There we go.
And I believe Doug and Stacy are going to be there too,
Maya,
aren't they?
I thought you were leaving.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
And just to warn you, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Well, they live in the same town we do.
Yeah, Baker Creek is in Mansfield, Missouri. I was brought up in Mansfield, Ohio, which is like 2 miles up the street. Yeah, so we're right outside of Mansfield. So I thought, yeah, we're supposed to go. It was one of those meant to be things. Yeah.
Wow.
So if anybody camps in the pasture at Baker's Creek, and if you see a Puma camper with the license plate that says Smudge 1, that's us.
Shayna's Country Charm is asking if you grow fodder.
I have not done fodder yet, and someone else recommended we grow that. So not yet.
Oh, I see we have another Buckeye in here. Cool.
Yes, absolutely. So, folks, if you don't have any more questions, I think we're probably gonna let them go here. They've been so gracious that we've had an absolutely wonderful time. Like to have them back again here in the future one of these days.
That'd be great. Thank you for having us on. It really is an honor.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get to see him in May. Woohoo!
Somebody is asking here, do you grow carrots? If so, what kind?
We've done a number of different carrots. There's not a certain variety that I'm stuck on right now. My restaurants, the chefs, they want whatever's colorful. They don't want it to look plain and ordinary. They said the wilder the better. So we've done yellow ones. We've done we have done the basic, like the Danvers orange, but like I said, there's not a certain variety that we're looking for. Actually, I would probably say that I do look at whatever has the shortest day to maturity is one of the factors that I do look at with the market garden, because I do want those beds to produce as quickly as I can.
Michigan Mike is asking, what plant you said repelled squash bugs? Is there there is no plant, is there?
It doesn't repel it. It's the variety of squash that they told me at Baker Creek the squash bugs really don't like, and it is I think it's just called lemon squash.
Lemon squash.
And it's a variety that Baker Creek sells.
That's one of the ones in the box. The seeds that they sent was lemon squash.
There you go.
So we'll have to try those now that you said that.
And round like a lemon.
I'll be darned. Well, I know last year I had lemon cucumbers. Those are different.
I guess I have a quick question. Do you do much in the way of the vining plants, the pumpkins, watermelons?
We do them a little bit. It's kind of not necessarily a main part of our system, but those are more of like my hobby plants.
Last year he planted watermelon, and I got loofahs.
Wait a minute. Wait just a minute.
I better go check my loofah seeds and see if those...
I think this calls for further explanation.
How do you do that?
Go ahead, Lacey.
He got a packet of watermelon seeds, and he started them, and we set them out, and there must have been some kind of mix-up because they were loofahs. So I ended up with loofahs instead of watermelon.
Yeah, as they were growing, I'm like, these are not watermelon.
Strangest shaped ones you ever saw, weren't they?
Yeah.
And you can scrub dishes with them.
Amazing what you can do with those.
Oh my goodness. So, all right. Well, I think with that, we probably ought to let folks go. I see a few people are they're getting their kids into bed, and I know for some of them it's getting late. Anything you have left to say?
No, I'm just glad we got you on here.
Mike and Lacey, anything from you guys?
No, we just want to thank you all again for having us on here. It's definitely been fun.
It has.
Definitely would look forward to the opportunity to do it again.
All right, that sounds like a winner. So, folks, thank you all for being here. Next week we will have Cab 7 as our guest. Mm-hmm. A little bit outside the homesteading genre, but
yes, it is.
A wonderful individual. Mm-hmm. And
in 2 weeks we'll be in Mississippi.
Yeah, so we don't have. Do we have? We don't have. We do have. Yeah, we have Monday night scheduled for that week.
Yeah, we'll be home by then.
Yeah, we should be home by then.
Yeah, we'll travel home on Sunday.
So, all right. Next week, Cab 7. Mike, Lacey, thank you both for being here. Take care, everyone.